Let's talk to Greg Simons with the Institute for Russian and Eurasian Studies of Uppsala University in Sweden. You know, Greg, it's been pretty remarkable over the last few days when Russians know that they could be hurt in protests by security forces, they could be arrested, and they could even be sent to the front lines if they demonstrate. But these have been going on, and they haven't been hesitating to head for the border either.
Well, I mean, no one wants to go to war. War is not a place for humans to be. So, I mean, these are actual understandable consequences. And, I mean, if we look at it, yes, there have been some different protests, as you note, against the recruitment, which has been very poorly communicated by Moscow. However, there have also been those that have been demonstrating for. So you've got a mixture. And of course, it's a lot of different things involved because if we look at it, Russian society has somewhat mobilized for the war. And this has been intensified by, for example, the Western sanctions, which they see as a collective punishment. You've also got divides between urban and rural populations, as well as other different divides.
Sure. You know, one thing that the Kremlin almost never does is admit that it has made a mistake. So when you see them now telling the world, oh yeah, there have been some errors in who's been called up, you have to wonder if the reason they're saying that is A, either to appease people and give them some hopes that they might be able to get out of it, or are they trying to make excuses for certain people who will get out of it? Just a couple of days ago, we saw some pranksters call up the son of the Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, tell him that he was being called up to war, and his response was, oh, well, I'm going to handle this at a higher level. Is that why the Kremlin's admitting this?
Well, there is another way of seeing this too, because to admit you made a mistake when it's obvious for everyone, because even Simonyan is saying there are problems. So to deny a problem is going to merely increase the level of public anxiety and outrage. And I think, I mean, to say something is wrong and they're going to try and address it is merely good crisis communication practice. The old ways of silence would not work in this situation.
Got it. You also see thousands of people boarding flights lined up for hours and hours at the border. Why is the Kremlin not trying to stop this? If they need everybody they can to fight, they're letting people out.
Well, yes, I mean, you got some different points, but also a lot of Western media reports have exaggerated it because if we just take one example, there were media reports that the Finnish border was getting overrun.
Yeah, but Greg, that's one report. That's one report that might have been exaggerated. But let's talk about the half-a-day-long line at the Georgian border. Let's talk about all the flights that have come into places like Serbia and Turkey, where there are young men on board saying, we're afraid to give our names, but we flew here to get out of going to war.
Yes, I mean, I don't deny that there is an exodus, and I completely understand from a human perspective why there is an exodus. I mean, the war there in Ukraine, I mean, it's brutal and bloody, it's attritional. I mean, no person in a normal state of mind would want to get voluntarily into a war.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting that Russia hasn't made a decision yet on whether it's going to close those borders. Greg, good to talk to you. Thank you.